Professor Paul Ananaba joins us this morning. He's the senior advocate of Nigeria to look at these issues and all the issues around it. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
It's 7 days before the release of the white paper of the Lagos ENDSARS panel report and on Lekki Tollgate and sundry other issues. What are your expectations? Of course, you know that there's been a lot of contestation, so to speak, on either side, depending on whose side you are. What are your thoughts on those, and what are your expectations?
The first point is, before I even get to the real issues, I'm disturbed by the fact that a report whose white paper has not been released is already been made a subject of warfare. I mean, in the media, you know, it doesn't show we are a serious-minded people. It doesn't show that. We can only deal with and discuss official documents in public. I don't know where those who are making accusations and counter-accusations got the reliable facts based on which arguments are going on. You know?
So you don't think it's the official report?
No, I hear about leaked reports on the media, in the media and all that. Why should that happen? A report has been submitted to government. Everybody should wait for the white paper. 7 days to go, yes. We spent over a year, and we've not done 7 days. We're already, bouncing on these things. So the first point I want to make is that until the white paper is released, we can only do what you have asked me now. What are our expectations?
You don't think the contestations are valid, given the historical trajectory where we are coming from?
Yeah,
there have been several panels, judicial panels.
As far as I'm concerned, we are not coming from anywhere. If we continue to do things the way we used to do, then we don't intend to make progress.
But there have been reports that they were never leaked. The white papers were never released. The reports themselves were never released, and no action was ever taken on them.
Those stand on their own too, but I'm talking about a report that had just been submitted, particularly in Lagos State, and the toll issue, Lagos State, Lekki toll, and it's being discussed. That's not correct.
You see,
if it is what we have carried on along from Oputa panel, Kombi panel, and all the other panel, it shouldn't be what we'll be talking about in 2021. It shouldn't be the same modus operandi. So we are not making progress. That's the point I'm making. So having made that point, what I go on to say is that in my native parlance, I am used to proverbs. So I like to talk with proverbs. It's not good to give a person palm front to carry, and you are still stepping on the palm front. We don't allow that in my community. You give a person the palm front and allow him to carry the palm front. And what am I trying to say? The whole process is taking time, taking money, proceedings. The report should be made known and implemented. And if anybody felt that it wasn't going, whatever comes out will not be used, there was no point using taxpayers' money. There will be no point setting up the panels. The panels, you will remember, came in to assist the society to wait for a better result than what led to the riots or to the protests. Now, having waited 1 year, like in Lagos, in some states, some of the reports have been submitted way back July or even earlier. Some of these state governments have not released the reports. So we should be a people that should be serious-minded in what we do and not set up a panel and you set up a panel, and the result, and the white paper doesn't come out. So if there is any panel report that never saw the light of the day, it won't be the ENDSARS, because there was some ray of hope that once the process started, the SARS was, abolished. There was SWOT and all that. That gave many of us hope that, oh, there is a chance of a new thing. So that hope must continue. The government must keep that hope going by making public what the panels have come up with and implementing them. And I want to make this point that, remember, there are panels. They are not courts, even though manned mostly by retired judges and very senior and eminent lawyers. They are still panel reports that will require government to release white paper and implementation. But having even said that, we expect that many people who have come to these panels to relate what would have happened to them, those things steps should be taken to ensure that those things don't happen again. And if we don't get to that level, it would have been a wasted exercise.
Prof, the challenge here that a number of people are looking at is, look, there is this saying that you know what someone will do by what the person has done before. That perhaps is the reason for the skepticism. I'm trying not to use the word distrust. Skepticism around whether or not the report will be released, whether or not action will be taken, whether or not anything valid will come out of it. Don't forget that, but even before this leaked report, began to make the rounds, there has been a lot of statements made by government officials saying, look, it was a massacre without bodies. In other words, there was no massacre whatsoever. There's been a lot of denials about some of these things. And so when this report came out, it was sounding to a number of people like, we have been vindicated. And of course, the people who are crying foul have been largely government officials, essentially saying it's like the government officials are trying to make this whole thing go away like nothing ever happened. Meanwhile, as far as those people who think some things happened are concerned, things really did happen and government needs to unearth it.
Thank you. I share those sentiments. I understand. I'm a Nigerian. I've never lived outside Nigeria, so I understand those points. But the point I'm making is that the Nigerian society must be progressive. We should not allow that to happen. And that's part of what we've done now, bringing it to the consciousness of Nigerians that, yes, 7 days away for Lagos, particularly Lekki Toll Gate, because I can't talk about all the panels. As part of practice, my firm has represented gone to some of these panels to make presentations. And what you're saying cannot be dismissed. Okay, remember there are financial components, compensation, part of what the panel report who will pay the money. Is it the federal government? Is it the state? So that's why we need to drum it to government, both at the state and federal levels. I said, listen, the reports must be made public in the white paper. Those who have been awarded some form of compensation should be paid. The citizens should not be left with arguing against us or trying to find a way. Those compensations should be made. And I was happy with, particularly the Lagos panel, I think, at some point, handed over some checks to some victims. And that was fine. It gave a lot of credibility. And particularly Lagos panel was, the composition had some very eminent people. And you can be sure that they will hit the nail on the head. We can't expect less. I'm not saying the report myself, but we can't expect less. And whatever it is, when the white paper comes, we will now know whether the panel did their work, really, as we have expected, or whether the government has the will to implement what it had put in place. You can imagine how much it would have cost the government.
Certainly.
When we say government, it looks as if it's government's money. There's some money called more government's money. That money is my tax, your tax, and all that.
Okay. Well, my apologies, Prof. I mean, we need to take a short break. But when you say, when the report comes out, a counsel to the Lagos State government had come and said, and argued, I mean, you also probably saw that one, argued, hugely on it, looking at the findings, looking at the evidences as opposed to the findings and recommendations and all of that. But we'll unpack all of that when we return from this break. Do stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. Professor Ananaba is still with us. Just before I flip to Abuja, Prof, there has been reports of late that some of the people who testified at the panels, they are claiming that they have been attacked. The front page of the Vanguard newspaper this morning, for instance, made that explicitly clear. And there are those who are saying this Lagos State government needs to come out and at least say something. Is there any kind of any kind of protection in law for those who testify at panels such as this?
Well, generally speaking, panels are not regular legal.
Yes, courts. You said
courts,
it the other time.
And so witness protection laws abound. It will also extend to panels, really, particularly judicial panels. The difference is not that, But the point is, why will a panel set up by a state not have, as part of conception of the panel, because it will receive evidence, particularly against security agents? Why will it not be part of the setting up of the panel? I don't think any serious-minded panel will be set up. Anybody will set up a serious-minded panel without looking into protection of witnesses. It is basic. So if there has been those allegations, and as we see them, I'm happy that the police is still central today. We have not even gone to state police. It then means that the federal government, the Inspector General of Police, has a duty at this stage to investigate those attacks. And then if it is traceable to anybody, then the law should be made to take its full force. If it's traceable to the state, then we know that the citizens have their rights. And the point to make at this point is that both at the federal and state governments, efforts should be made to avert anything that looks like the ENDSARS protest. It shouldn't come back. The citizens should not be pushed to a point where they say, what is all this? And so going to attack witnesses, then what do you want to achieve?
Do you see that consequence?
It is campaign after election, because the reports have been already, and I can tell you that most of the proceedings were recorded. Are you going to doctor the recordings or what? So that is not even the way to go. I want to assume that will be investigated and then a report come up. But the spinal cord is a white paper on the report. So Nigerians will know what happened. You were talking about people attacking a report. How can you attack a report that is not public? It's unprofessional. It's unethical.
No, they're not. They're not attacking the one that is published. They're attacking the one that has been leaked.
That's the point. That's why that's not been published. That's what I'm saying. If you attack,
but I think there's a lot of proof. So, for instance, the counsel to the state government was here and also said, look, he has it on good authority that to a large extent, that report represents is very, very close, at least 98% close.
I will say no more than saying that I'm surprised that could happen.
What could happen?
That a comment will be made about, oh, I've seen this, I've seen that. What will you have seen? Then there will be no need for the white paper. So such person should proceed and publish what he has seen to Nigerians so that we know that that is the authority to get information.
Okay.
Impunity has become, is already becoming so elevated in this country. Why?
Okay. Markwe?
I don't even know where to start with the questioning. I have a few questions. In Lagos, the Lagos Judicial Panel's report, everyone knew it was going to be quite contentious as a result of the Lekki shootings, which happened on the 20th of October last year. And it would seem that that particular component, because the terms of the Judicial Panel was now expanded to include that investigation much later. I think it was done on the 21st of October last year. And that has now made, it would seem that that's now the most singular, important or differentiating item of the Lagos Judicial Panel report. Now, do you think that there ought to be another investigation, perhaps at the federal level, considering the fact that the agencies that were involved were alleged to have carried out the shooting on the night of the 20th were federal government agencies?
No, Mabe, thank you. I don't think so, because if you look at the Supreme Court's position on Togun's case, which is what we call the Oputa panel, you cannot do so. The federal government has no jurisdiction to set up a panel in a state. It can only set up a panel in the FCT. That was why the Oputa panel was, lost weight, so to speak. So the federal government cannot set up any panel further. What the Inspector General of Police can investigate, and that's a different thing entirely. But as for panels, commissions of inquiry, that can only be done by the state. And that's why the states, each state, virtually all the states set up panel on this issue of ENDSARS. I don't see a better panel you can set up than what Lagos State did. The quality of persons that were in that panel was can be respected. So what we need is to see.
I guess
what we need is to see.
I have to rephrase that. Perhaps what I had in mind is not exactly a panel, but I think you already mentioned that the Inspector General of Police can, start an inquisition, because there has to be some internal investigation amongst the security agencies. You don't think that is important as well?
No, it is. That's part of our. We ought to have passed this level of long time. There should be, in a vehicle, that's what they call distributor. In the engine components, I'm not a mechanical engineer. There should be a clearing point in our security and agencies network. You have seen a situation where one agency counters another agency. There is no clearing, and that has affected investigation and prosecutions. So basically, Section 2 and 4 of the Constitution is clear. The Inspector General of Police should, if he feels that it's important, investigate. But if he gets into a judicial panel, it can only be done by the states.
Okay, now the panel report is out. It has been submitted by the judicial, by the panel of inquiry. Justice Okuwobi and other members of the panel have since submitted their report. And now we are counting down to the time frame in which the Lagos State government says it's going to release a white paper. You have also asked that the Lagos State government publishes the report as submitted by the panel. But now we hear that lawyers are saying there is no law compelling the Lagos state government to publish the report. How important is this particular aspect? Publishing the report, well, the white paper is another instrument. However, that singular component of publishing the report, how important is this, whether or not there is a law?
Well, there are academic arguments that I will not be willing to do. When someone says there is no law compelling Lagos State government to publish reports, he will win the argument and lose the people. Argument, yes, you have won the argument, but you have lost the people. And I'm a proponent of the theory that law must not ignore culture. And that's why you will build many footbridges, and people will not climb those footbridges. Even when though they will see people, vehicles knocking down other people, because their culture first needs to change. Their culture is across the road. So if you put a zebra crossing and traffic light, enforcement will be a lot easier. But let me move on to the point you were raising. Nobody compared Lagos State government to say, this is when we will release a white paper and then possibly the report. And a government must be held accountable to what it tells its citizens. So I'm not going to go into those legal arguments or fantastic arguments as to whether they can be compared. Nobody's going to compare. The Lagos State government has led in many things positive in this country. I have tremendous respect for the governor and particularly the Ministry of Justice, the Attorney General. These are great Nigerians. And they didn't need any compulsion to tell Lagosians, we will publish this report. So I want us to leave the point there, that they are going to do what they've told us they will do. Those who want to argue that there's no law compelling them, I'm not going to be part of that because lives were lost, properties were lost. There was so much crisis and commotion during that period. It got international attention. And now someone will come to say, well, they cannot be compared. What else will compel a government? Even the life of one citizen in this country is important to bring a closure to what actually happened in the ENDSARS protest. What actually happened in Lekki at the Lekki toll gate. There should be a closure. There should be governance. And I dare say that government must govern. Leadership must lead. And the way to lead is to lead from the front. The way to lead is to lead to win the confidence of Nigerians that when there is any need tomorrow and that the panel is going to be set up, Nigerians will say, our panels have always produced good results. If you cannot compel government to release report, and then panels were only to be set up just to distract Nigerians or distract people. When there is another protest, nobody will be interested in any panel. Those panels come in to help moderate society. So if you now say that they are not worth anything, if you announce tomorrow that when there's a demonstration or protest that they are going to set up, and the people say it's not worth anything. So let's not reduce governance to that point. That's why I commend the Lagos State government on its own, winning back the confidence of Nigerians to say, we will do this. And I believe that they will do what they have said.
Dr. Ananaba, very weighty implications for non-publishing or the publication of that particular report, if that is how, if Lagos, well, we sincerely hope that that's not what they choose, considering the implications of what you have already laid out. But, you know, they have said they're going to release a white paper in 7 days, and we'll wait. However, in the waiting period, yes, you have said that you will not comment on the leaked report because it is unethical. However, we cannot ignore it. The public is already they're already in possession of the leaked report. People have already drawn their conclusions, and right now it would seem that people are also alleging that their lives are at risk. Only yesterday we heard from a senior advocate of Nigeria, Mr. Ebon Oluwadigboruwa, who says that if anything should happen to him, you know, we should hold the Lagos state government responsible. We also heard from a group which also said that someone who testified at that ENDSARS panel, while he was sitting, that she was brutally attacked. And we've seen pictures, very gory pictures. And there have been allegations that, you know, other members of the, not of the panel, but those who testified, you know, their lives are under threat. These are grievous allegations. What is the expectation? In the light of these allegations, what do you expect, or how do you expect the Lagos state government to react?
All right, I will expect that the Lagos state government will issue a brief statement on those points, assuring Lagosians, and in line with what they've started doing of saying, we will publish a report. They will also proceed with ensuring that the Commissioner of Police Lagos State investigates these allegations, because they are very heavy. Why is it that the green passport, our Nigerians are disrespected in some countries? It is because of all these things. The way we manage ourselves. In sane environments, we don't hear this, that because you've served in a panel, your life will be in danger. So in the next panels you set up, will angels be brought to, or spirits? You know? So we should ensure that governance has integrity. So I would expect the Lagos state government to make a statement on it. Assure Lagosians, because this is the most stable state in Nigeria to my mind. And Lagos must not, this kind of news cannot come in Lagos. There is a special protection unit of the police, all the people that and all that. The special protection unit should come in, the police should come in, ensure that people who witnesses, panel members are protected, ensure nothing happens to them, ensure the integrity of the report by the state government is upheld. I still take it, and I urge Nigerians to take it, that all those leaked reports are not a report.
Okay.
That the real report will come in 7 days. Okay. Let's not invent our own reports, because it has a way of diluting the effect of the report. So that people will start saying, oh, is it the real one or is it not the real one? The real report will come in 7 days. Let's be patient.
Well, since we don't have so much time, I'm not going to go into, you know, the arguments around that one, but just this one last one. The federal government is also looking, so to speak, to this report. And when we hosted Mr. Femi Adesina yesterday, said the issues that concern the federal government will be addressed as they concern the federal government. Given the level of distrust, how hopeful or confident are you that whatever government at any level takes will assuage the feelings of the people?
Yeah, the hope I have is that we can still trust our government. I know that there are issues, and that any sane government, any government that loves its citizens, will not do anything to a report or to the findings of the issues that relate to ENDSARS, because it relates mostly to the youth. And the confidence of the youth and the generality of Nigerians cannot be something that can be toyed with. I don't expect the government to do any of the things that are negatively being bandied around. I believe that the government will take it very seriously and reassure the youth of this country. Elections are also around the corner. It is the same youth you are going to go to say, vote for us. Let me tell you, let me close by this. You know, in the 70s, when I was in primary school, up to secondary school, we were told, Health for All 2000, school for all, education for all, everything for all 2000. By some set of people who were youth, who say, okay, all the policies were in our best interest. Go on, austerity measures, all that. I have grown to a full adult, became a lawyer, nearly 10 years as a senior advocate of Nigeria, almost 10 years. There are still promises and promises, none have been achieved. So we cannot continue the way we were.
Okay.
We have to change the gears.
Okay.
Thank you.
We have to thank you very much for being here this morning, Professor Paul Ananaba, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. Thank you for your perspectives.
Thank you.